One night, a group of police officers were eating late when they got an emergency call on their walkie-talkie. It was about a family fight in room B, on the 7th floor of the Xinhua building nearby. The officer in charge, Charlie, thought it was a small matter, so he asked the new officer, David, to go check it out alone. David walked through a dark, quiet alley and reached the Xinhua building. As he climbed the stairs, he felt a strange coldness in the air. Everything was too quiet. When he got to room B, he rang the doorbell. A messy-looking girl opened the door. David told her why he was there, but the girl said no one in the house had called the police, and everything was fine. She told him to leave right away. Still, David noticed something strange in her eyes, like she was hiding something. He asked to come in, but the girl refused. Then a voice came from inside the house, and the girl, scared, let him in. Inside, the place was messy and dim. An old woman was sitting and sewing something, her back hunched over. David felt something was very wrong. He asked the old woman if she called the police, but she didn't answer and just kept sewing. What shocked David the most was that, although she was moving like she was alive, her face looked like a dead person's. It had turned pale and dark, like someone already dead for hours. He called out to her again, but suddenly she looked at him. The girl got nervous. Then the old woman grabbed David's hand and shoved it under the sewing machine. She pushed hard on the pedal. David screamed in pain. Right after that, the girl shot him in the neck with a tranquilizer. He tried to call for help but fell unconscious. When David woke up, he was in a deep pit. He tried to move but couldn't. His lower body was covered in cement. The mother and daughter stood nearby, with a cement mixer still running. David begged them to stop, but they acted like they couldn't hear him. The old woman kept pouring cement on him. He asked her, "Why are you doing this?" But she said nothing. She just shoved a tube in his mouth so he could breathe. Even when the cement covered his whole body, it was a cruel way to keep him alive while burying him. Back at the station, Charlie got worried when David didn't return. He went to the Xinhua building to check, but the place looked empty and abandoned. He called David's phone, but no one answered. Then an old security guard appeared. Charlie asked if he saw anyone enter the building. The guard said, "No one lives here. This building has been empty for over 6 years." Charlie was confused. If the building was empty, who had made the emergency call? Worried, Charlie ran upstairs with the guard. Room B looked like no one had lived there for years, dusty and falling apart. Still, Charlie called David's phone again. This time, he heard a ringtone from under the floor. Shocked, Charlie fell to the ground in fear. He quickly called more officers. They started digging and found David's phone under the floor, next to a dried-up skeleton. Even scarier, they found another skeleton hidden in the wall. Experts later found out the skeletons were of a mother and her daughter who had gone missing 20 years ago. They were killed and buried in cement. Back then, the police suspected the girl's boyfriend. He worked in construction, but they couldn't find the bodies. So the case was closed. 6 months later, the boyfriend died in a strange car crash. But there was one more twist. The boyfriend from 20 years ago looked exactly like Officer David, though they were born years apart. Their faces were the same. It was almost like David was the boyfriend reborn.